Kyle from Single Track here, continuing on our path of service basics. Today, I'm going to show you a checkover, which includes lubing the chain, bolt check, checking the inflation of the tires, lubing the shift and brake cables, and making sure your quick release levers are properly adjusted. A couple of things you're going to need: red rag, blue rag. I love the blue paper rags. Can't get enough. I love the red rags too. You need some chain lube. Get it at any bike shop. These are about $6 for, last you about a year. And I like bike wash. You don't need bike wash, but we really like it. So we'll start by wiping down the frame. Not only does it keep things clean, but you're visually inspecting the frame for any damages, any cracks. It's important. Before we start properly torquing any bolts, you just want to make sure that frame is in good working order. Just a good visual inspection. Check the fork. While you're getting a good overall visual, always smart to check out the tires. Make sure none of the lugs are ripping. Make sure the rubber is in good condition, not dry rotting at all. Do a checkover on your bike semi-frequently, let's say once every couple of months or even once a season, you'll have a little extra peace of mind knowing it's not going to fall apart on you when you're bombing downhill or grinding uphill. And that's a good thing. Peace of mind. Alright, good visual inspection, a little wipe down. Move on to lubing the chain. If you lube your chain frequently, once every couple of rides, once a week, even once a month, you're going to be doing better than 90% of the bike owners out there. And it's not a competition, but you want to do a good job. You want to make sure it's shifting properly, you're getting the proper service life out of your bike. Lubing the chain is one of the single best things you can do. Chain's lubed, frame's wiped down. One tool, forgot to mention, floor pump. It's the most important tool in your arsenal. You want to check your tire pressure before each ride if you can. If that seems excessive, once every week or two. For general purpose riding, a bike like this should be inflated to about 30 pounds per square inch PSI. If you're doing general purpose riding, around town commuting, maybe 40 PSI. If it's fully loaded with gear and you're going on a bike packing or touring trip, maybe 45 or 50 PSI. And you can always reference the recommended proper inflation on the side of the tire. It's fine print. We're not going to point it out, but it's there on every tire. Rest assured. Frame is wiped down. Chain has been lubed. Proper inflation is ensured. Next step. We're going to drop the bike down off the stand and check that the wheels are centered in the dropouts. The dropout is the part of the frame and the fork that accepts the wheel. The quick release lever is a mechanism that uses compression to hold the wheel into the dropout. We weight the back end of the bike, flip open the lever, make sure the wheel's centered by weighting the back of the bike evenly, and close it. Same in the front. Weight the front end of the bike, open the lever, and close it. Easy as that. Finally, before we're ready to ride, we want to make sure bolts are torqued. You may have a torque wrench, you may not. I recommend grabbing a little torque wrench if you can. Hardware store, auto parts store, local bike shop, they all have them. The most important bolts on the bike from a safety perspective are on the stem. This part of the bike fails, you're going to be in big trouble. So you want to torque these. The torque specs should be printed near the bolts on the stem. This stem has a torque rating of 5 Newton meters. So we'll go through, double check those. Seat post bolt, pretty important there. You don't want that slipping, don't want anything going around. Anchors, where your cable's attached to the derailleurs, also important. Crank bolts, also important. You have a pedal wrench, it's good to check the pedals. You want to make sure they're not too tight, but definitely not too loose. Everything looks pretty good to go. One last thing that's worth checking out or addressing are the cables. You can take your chain lube and your red rag and just drop a little bit of chain lube into the cables where they are exposed. These are called cable stops. That's called a cable. This is the cable housing. So any place you see exposed cable, just drizzle a little bit of chain lube. Make sure you keep your red rag underneath so you don't drizzle any of this chain lube where it doesn't belong, like brake pads. Don't ever lube the brake pads. Good. And this particular bike has cable pull brakes. So we're going to look for exposed cables. The only place I'm seeing them is here, very close to the brake pads. So I'm going to hold that red rag extremely tight. Be very careful not to get any chain lube on the brake itself. Again, the only exposed cable here on the front brake is right near the pads. We're starting to get into a little level 2 business. This is really above and beyond, but we just want to ensure proper function. And again, that peace of mind is everything. Knowing that things are safe and functional. Take a look at your shifting. Make sure nothing catastrophic is going on there. This one's spot on. Check the front shifting. Dials. Both the brakes, tight. Speaking of brakes, I did forget to check those brake bolts. Thanks for the reminder. Just put a wrench on there. You don't want to reef on it, just making sure that it's not loose. Disc brakes can be tricky. You don't want to tighten or loosen the wrong bolt. We'll go over that a little later. For now, just checking that the caliper bolts are tight and the anchor point, the anchor bolt is tight. All right, this concludes our basic checkover. Stay tuned for more helpful videos, service basics. Thanks.